Okay, so Leetcode practice time. So two goals again in this video. The first one is to see how to solve this problem and then put in some code there. And the second one is to see how to solve this problem during a real coding interview. So let's get started. So remember, the first is always to try to understand the problem and at the same time think about the edge cases. So if there's anything unclear to you, please bring up the questions to your interviewer to ask the interviewer to clarify. So let's take a look at this question. So it's word break. Give me a non-empty string S and the dictionary word dict containing a list of non-empty words. Determine if S can be segmented into a space, separate a sequence of one or more dictionary words. So the same word in the dictionary may be reused multiple times in the segmentation, and you may assume the dictionary doesn't contain duplicate words. So let's see the first one, Leetcode. Word dict contain leet and code, so we can separate Leetcode into two words. So it is going to return true, and similarly for this apple, pen, apple. And for this one, cat, sand, dog. So there's no way to break down the string into separate words, and each word should be within the word dict. So there's no way to do that. So it's going to return false. Okay, so I think we are pretty clear about this problem. Let's see how to solve it. So the next step is about finding solution after we understand find the solution after we understand what the question is asking us to do. So how to solve this problem? So I would say, okay, so I think before that I have one thing to clarify. If the empty, okay, so it says the input string is going to be non-empty, so it definitely resolve my concern. I was thinking if the input string is empty, should we return true or false? Alright, so let's continue the finding solution part. So there's always a brute force solution. We can do a brute force search using recursion on top of this Leetcode string. And then in each step you try to see if the corresponding substring is one of the word dict, but that one is not going to be good because it's too time consuming. So let's see if we can do anything better. So actually I think this is more of a DP problem, I would say. So how to see? I think it seems to be a DP problem. Let's see. Okay. So I think I kind of understand the DP formula. So let's say we are trying to compute DPI, and so let's define a DP array. So DP is from 0 to n. N is the length of the string. So DPI represents if s dot sub str is equal to if the substring of s from 0 to I, so I is excluded, can be separated to a list words, and each word is within word dict. So that represents DPI. So how to compute the DPI? So we decompose into we have decomposed into subproblem. The subproblem is to see whether s dot substring 0 to I could be break down into a list of the words that each word is within the word dict. So we could and then we record the status for the subproblem to compute a larger problem. So that's essentially what what a dynamic programming is. So DPI is equal to, I would say, we just find from DP0 until the DPI minus 1. So if any of them okay, so I would say let's use this one. So DPI is equal to DPJ and s dot sub str how to see that, it is j plus 1 I would say I plus 1 is within word dict. Okay, so dp and of course j should be smaller than I, with j smaller than I. So that's pretty much about the formula. Okay, let's see. So if j and then we all right, so I think that's right. So this is pretty much about the formula of this DP problem. And then regarding the runtime, it's gonna be, we are going to have a for loop within another for loop, and in the inner for loop we are going to try to get the substring. So in total it is going to be O n cubed regarding the runtime. So I think that's it regarding the finding solution part. We have done we have explained the solution to the interior, and we have explained the runtime for the corresponding solution. So the next part is about coding. So for the coding part, we care about the speed. Of course, don't be too slow, and also the correctness of the code, and of course the readability of the code. So let's give it a shot by doing some coding work. First of all, we need to try to turn this word dict into a dictionary. So let's say first of all, let's say set string word set is equal to new hash set. So the reason we need to turn the list into a set is for easier lookup. For string is in word dict is equal to word set dot add word. Okay, and then we are going to have a Boolean array. So let's say it is is valid. This should be an array of it, and this is equal to new Boolean is new Boolean word dict dot length. Okay, is it size, right? Okay, size. Okay, plus 1. So we are going to say is valid 0 as true, which means if it is empty string, then actually we just simply return true for it. So this is the initial status for the word subproblem. Status for the word subproblem. So the next step is to compute each I. So int I equal to 0 as smaller than okay, equal to 1, smaller or equal to the to s dot no, so actually I was confused, sorry, this should be s length plus 1. Okay, so this is s dot length plus 1. If let me see if I'm making some stupid mistake. So is as true, it should be okay, and the plus I. So for okay, so int j is equal to 0, j should be smaller than I, and plus plus j. So if dpj and word set dot contains s dot sub string, beginning index of course is j, and the end index is I, and we exclude the I. Okay, if that's true, then we will say okay, dpi is equal to true, and then we simply break the inner for loop, and finally we are just going to return is valid as dot length. Alright, so that's pretty much about the code, and the next part is about testing. To do some sanity check first by going through an example, and then we will and then we will need to set up different test cases to increase the test coverage. So let's say for this one, we turn the word dict into a set. Alright, so that's no issue. And then we have, for this example, we have is valid initialized as true, false, 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 3 false. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 false. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we have 8 of them. Alright. So, and then we within the for loop, so when I is equal to 1, we are going to get a substring which is L. So L is definitely not within the word dict, so this bit is still false. And for this one, we are going to see for when I is equal to 2. So 1, and when I is equal to 1, I is equal to, so when I is equal to 1, j is equal to 0, and I is equal to 1. Okay, so when I is equal to 2, we are going to say if L and LE are something within the word dict, so not, and also dp1 within the inner loop, we see that dp1 is equal to false. So for this invalid array, the second bit is going to be set as false, stay as false. For the third one, we are going to see that LE and LEE not within it. So similarly, this one stays as false. So for this, when I is equal to 4. Sorry, when I is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I is equal to 4, we are going to see that okay, so this should be invalid. It's not dp. So I was always thinking about dp. So if invalid 0 is equal to true, and we see that leet is definitely something within the word dict, so we are going to set this bit as true and break the inner for loop. So similarly, we set this one, we make this one stay as false, this one stay as false, this one stay as false, and then when it comes here, we see that dp 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, dp4 is equal to true, and the substring, when we call substring, and j is equal to 4, I is equal to 8, we see that code is within the input word dict, so we are going to turn this one as true. and then finally we return the last boolean from is invalidated array, so it is going to return true for this case. Okay, so I think mostly it works to me, so let's give it a try by running this piece of code. Alright, so regarding the test case setup, I would say definitely set up something that's going to return true, and also set up something that is going to return false. Make sure that the different branches are covered, but although there really isn't too much branches to be covered actually for this piece of code, because it's too simple. So let's submit this piece of code. Okay, so I think that should work, and we are done with this coding question. So if you have any question for this problem, please leave some comments below, and if you find this video a bit helpful for your technical interview preparation, please give me a thumb up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.